it's just a fantastic course. So we'll call the meeting to order and then ask for public comments. I understand there's some today.
Penny Burrow. And I'll tap into it, whichever one wants to first.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Please come.
Hi, Penny Burrell, 507 Bridgers Avenue. And coming before you with Pat, just wanted to let you know I'm a full-time resident and I'm an active pickleball player. So hence the subject. The purpose of readdressing the subject of the third court, and I want to address that while I know you have other needs for your playground as well, and just the park in general. I think it's like the whole piece of property and how best to have it serve the residents and the public, because the public park needs. Both the Parks and Rec and the commissioners, I think over the past year or more, have recognized the need perhaps for a third court because of the growth of pickleball. But even I didn't know until I was doing the research that there's like a 300% growth in pickleball over the last 3 years. So it is the #1 fastest growing sport in the United States. During our peak periods down playing pickleball, and of course in the winter, and some people are playing indoors, and a lot of other towns have built pickleball courts, so it's spreading out. But still, during the peak time periods, there could be 20 to 30 people waiting to play pickleball. And that could mean like a 45-minute wait if you go through all of the changeovers of the court. So we've just been talking about it, like we need another court, we need another court. And so we got together with Pat, he got together with me. We talked also with Ed Broadhurst, who was very involved in the building of the second court. And we thought, well, let's do kind of a feasibility measurement exercise on it. And went down on several occasions. Dick Earl helped as well, just to see if we had the space and if we could still comply to the original grant with all the parking spaces that we needed to keep available. And so we feel like maybe some of the hurdles in a third court acceptance would be the space, if we had the space for it, and or of course the funding. So Pat Gunther is going to speak next, but she also, I think, is going to hand out what we came up with as kind of a plan, a layout for this third court and some ideas. We haven't privately gone into cost and things like that until, you know, we feel like it's really something, maybe we could bring that, if we could be on your agenda in May, bring some more specifics regarding that. But we also think there's a lot of creative community fundraising ideas that we could bring to the table, like not just we want this third court, you know, find the money for it. Like we could help you find the money for it and do some things as a community that I think would just really enhance our town to work on that too. Pat, I think I would just introduce Pat unless you have any questions for me right now.
Right, just a general, how many people play that are coming from someplace else that don't live here in Topsail? Is it 80% come in, or do you have any idea? Less than that?
Yeah, less. We did a study, I think Pat might, not a study, but we did sort of an analysis of that. And we had a higher percentage of Topsail residents.
Residue.
Yeah, that we did, but we are pulling from Hampstead, Surf City, Holly Ridge, and then all over the United States in the summer. It is amazing the amount of the popularity and in actually talking to, which is it's a great socializing. I was not a sport, but it's an activity to meet new people. And the amount of vacationers who researched vacation sites that offered pickleball, and they chose Topsail because they had the courts there. So it's like, yeah, I can see that.
I moved here from Naples, Florida, and it's pickleball world.
Yeah.
Everywhere, it's crazy down there.
Yeah,
They're taking
And it's
over
spreading.
tennis courts.
and in just doing a little bit of research, the demographics of it is changing. It
Oh.
was of more of the retirees, not the
Kids.
demographics nationwide, but more age-wise. It is now 40-year-olds, 30-year-olds. It's really, and the times recently, being down there and seeing some of the families playing and some of the teenagers playing, seriously playing, be it some in sandals or Crocs instead of shoes. It's exciting that it's happening, and our town has done such a good job from 10, 12 years ago, putting in a first court when nobody really even heard of it. And then adding a second court, which really, really helped. And now we have this, we have the space and add a third court, and I think it would be amazing. And that maybe down the road, we could offer, the town could offer beginner lessons, or we could help to really encourage the growth of the sport.
Okay, other questions? Pat?
Yes, thank you. Pretty good. Hi, I'm Pat Gunter, 1226 Ocean Boulevard, avid pickleball player. I've seen most of you before about this particular topic. As Penny alluded, and Michael, to sort of address your question a little bit, we did a study 2 years ago when we first brought it to this board. We did a study to address some of the questions that people had, comments like, well, most of those people are coming from Surf City and that kind of thing. So we did a study from a 4-month study from July through September, because I'm a data person. That was my career, was data analysis. So I was down there every day, marking people off and finding out where they live, were they renters or whatever. And we determined that about 65% of the players were Topsail Beach residents or property owners. And the rest were coming from the outlying areas, but also a large number of renters, as Penny said. So what we did this time, I'm going to get Penny to hand this out. Let me explain it a little bit first, if you want to hold that side. I've got this on a thumb drive. In the May meeting, if you want this up on the screen, we can put it up on the screen. But for now, can you see it? Okay. Well, this is 3 courts. Our 2 courts right now are roughly here. Oh, very good. Okay. I think Ed brought hers, maybe brought down and gave it to you all or something. Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, I'll take whatever's left. Oh, yeah, I don't need the copy. So what we determined was there's on the right-hand side, you can see, I'm not going to go through it in great detail unless you have a specific question. But on the right-hand side, you can see the north lot line. That's the lot line that sits between the park, between the courts and Maritime Way. And so on the far right is that north lot line. On the top, you see the west fence, which divides the pickleball courts and the park from Charles Fisher's land, where his business is. And on the bottom of the drawing, you see picnic shelters, basketball court, picnic shelter, and grassy area. And that is what is currently there. So this plan that we've put together here doesn't change any of that. This is strictly a proof of concept. What we were trying to say is, let's take the measurements and see if it can be done without disrupting the whole park. And we determined that it could be done because we've got a lot of extra space between the courts right now that we don't need. We've got a lot of gravelled area between the courts, between the two courts and on either side of it. If we take out that gravelled area, which we don't need, and move everything over, kind of squeeze it up, all we really needed was 10 extra feet. That's really all we needed. So we went into the parking lot area by 10 feet. So we said, okay, well, if we go into the parking lot area by 10 feet, we're going to take a couple of parking spaces. But what I did was I took out the wasted space. There's some wasted space in the middle of the parking lot. And then there's space over on the side, the south side, where there's just shrubs, kind of shrubby trees and shrubs, and took that out. So what you see on the far left is where you would turn into the parking lot. And we recouped a lot of that space that was just wasted space. So actually, with this drawing, we recovered 2 parking spaces instead of what we lost. In addition to what we lost, we actually recouped that plus 2 more spaces, which is good because when we put in the second court, we sort of were in violation and we didn't know it of the state of the original grant, and we lost parking spaces. And so when I spoke to them 2 years ago, they said, okay, fine, we're just going to sort of look the other way because you've already done it. But what we wanted to make sure is that we didn't lose any more. And in reality, with this particular drawing, we actually regained a couple of them. So when I said that this was intended to be a proof of concept, the town, or you all can look at this and you can reconfigure it if you don't like the way this looks. We tried to see if we could turn the courts horizontally instead of vertically and get 4 courts. And we couldn't do it. We were going to lose too much of the parking space. The only way that we can do that is to get Charles Fisher's land, and that doesn't seem to be feasible for the foreseeable future. So we just left them vertically as they are, but then actually needed 10 feet. So that's what this is. This is a proof of concept, and I just wanted to give you each a copy so that you could look at it. And then if we come back in May to talk about it in further detail, then Ed Broadhurst was one of the ones who helped with the measuring and measuring and measuring. And I actually, the way I came up with that is this is the same drawing, but yours is enlarged. And this is the drawing that I did. And I did it to scale so that each block on the graph paper is a foot. And so that's how we know that this will fit. So.
Question.
Sure.
This one right here,
Yes.
is that where it originally is right now?
No.
Okay, so everything has to be torn up and moved.
Yes.
Right.
Because what will happen is we can reuse some of what's there. We can reuse the nets that we have. We can reuse some or all of the fencing we have. But what that is that took, here's the, probably can't see it. I can show it to you. This is the current configuration. So you see where all the gravel is?
Yeah.
I've taken out 5 feet of gravel and moved it over 5 feet this way. And then taken out all of the other gravel that's between them.
Right.
And by doing that, we were able to put the third court with just 10 feet missing. So that's how we were able to do it. So I'm happy to do this up like this and make an enlarged copy if that would be helpful. I don't.
Yeah, I had the same question. Was it moving all 3 or moving both?
It is.
It's not leaving one the same and just.
Right.
Okay.
The first court that we have, the one on the far right, in the current configuration, has always had a problem with the cement. It did not have, this is my understanding, I'm not a construction person, but it's my understanding that it did not have appropriate moisture barrier underneath it. So the paint chips off of it constantly. It looks terrible. It's still playable, but it looks terrible. And so what Ed Broadhurst, who built the second court, recommended was that we just take up the concrete pad, we fix that problem so that it's fixed once and for all, and we lay one big concrete pad for the area. And then you can put the lines, and you put the shorter fences in between.
So that's what those are. Those are shorter fences and then 5 feet on either side of the fence, which is where the court is.
Yes,
Right.
that's right, because all we need on each side is 5 feet.
Right.
Yep. We don't need that extra gravel space. In fact, that's problematic in some instances because if somebody falls or something on the gravel, we just do not have it.
Right, but it's the same depth.
Yes, same depth.
Yeah.
Now, but what I did do is if you look at this again, there's gravel on the side next to Charles Fisher. I took that out as well, so I actually moved the courts up 5 feet closer to the fence. Because we don't need that gravel there. So we might as well move it up and then that gives everybody a little more elbow
A little
room
more space.
down on
entrance.
next to the benches and everything.
The sidewalk area is a little wider.
Yep.
What that space would be.
The space, okay, yeah.
You want to have any other questions for Pat?
I just wanted to add something. We were going to just preliminarily meet with a concrete person to, tear up court number 1, the original one, get rid of that. Keep court number 2, and then fill in concrete everywhere. So you have this full pad measures to accommodate 3 courts. Then we paint the 3 courts on that slab of concrete. So he had a family emergency and couldn't meet yet, but we would be able to have some kind of number on that maybe in May. So, and that, I mean, we're kind of taking that's not a big deal. And we don't want to step on any toes about costing anything out, but cost going to be an issue. So if we can save that second court and concrete around it, and also the concrete that's currently on that site. We're just filling it in, seaming it, doing all that, and then repainting it with 3 courts.
Anyone else have any other questions? Thank you. I know we had this before us before.
Yes,
And I know that one of the things that we talked about initially, and it's probably been 18 months, maybe, seems, maybe it was the space, which was a key, and the cost. And the other thing that our board talked about a lot was the extent of the problem, the usage. Because it is I've been and waited 45 minutes. I understand the usage. And the thing we were considering was the cost versus how long it's, it seems like it's a problem for a couple of hours first thing in the morning. So, because we actually as a board talked about how could we extend the time on the court? Because it's the heat of the day. So, that factors into something we'll have to consider.
Yeah, and I would just like to make one comment about that, and that is that living in a tropical area where we do, and a resort area where we do, this is just simply the way it is. And you have the exact same issue with the playground. The playground, mostly people are gonna bring their children in the cooler hours. They're not gonna bring them mostly in the middle of the day. So it's the same issue with the whole rest of the park, not just the playground.
Just wanted to sort of recap where we were and
Yeah.
how we sort of got to a staying position, but we appreciate, it's always nice when someone comes not only with a problem, but with an idea of how to solve that problem. So we thank you, and
Thank you.
my thoughts would be to ask the staff over the next few weeks to look at it and come back and maybe have a presentation at our next meeting, or not a presentation, so it's a hard word, but we can discuss a little more. Where to go. So with that said, let's go to item number 3, which is the approval of the agenda. Before we get to that, I'm going to ask, without dissent, if it's okay, if we take item number 8, which is confirm the next meeting date, I would like to move that up to be item number 2. Do I hear any objection? With none stated? I will not be here on that Tuesday, so I've talked to everyone and I wanted to see about confirming the next meeting date for Thursday, May 14th. Christina they have a BIS meeting that afternoon, so it would need to be in the morning. Do I hear a motion that we set our next meeting date for Thursday, May 14th?
Motion to change the date.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in agreement?
What
So-
time? What time does this town say?
I would suggest 10 o'clock.
Okay,
That's,
10 o'clock.
we usually do 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock.
Yes, that's good. Okay. So, I just wanted to put that out so that you all would know when our next meeting date would be and would not have to wait till the end of the agenda to think it was one thing and find out it was something else.
Thank
So, thank you all for that. Now we'll pick up the agenda where it was, which is the approval of the agenda as changed. Do I hear a motion for its adoption as amended? Thank you. Second?
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Uh,
Great, thanks. The minutes were emailed to you. I assume everyone's had an opportunity to look over them. Do I hear a motion for their approval?
I move to have them approved as written.
Thank you. Second? Thank you, and all in,
all in favor?
thank you, thank you. The next issue that we have on there, and we do have some handouts, is discussing our Parks and Recreation logo and slogan. Now, I'm gonna, the very back piece of paper. Rochelle, I don't know if you have it where, I didn't ask you to have it. I don't know if you have it where you could pull it up on the screen or not, but let's just start with a logo. Because we discussed last time that we needed, it would be nice if our Parks and Rec could have its own logo to sort of brand itself for whatever projects we may have coming forth. And these are 3 ideas. Rochelle, are you able to pull? Great, thank you. So I just wanted to see if you all liked one of these. I think Rochelle did a great job taking our ideas and putting them together. And so I would like to see if you all feel comfortable with one of these. If you do, if you have rank 1, 2, 3, or if you think you need more time, that's okay too. But there they are.
I like this one.
That's the one I'm waiting for to come.
Yeah, this one.
Which one is that?
They're looking at, you're looking at the,
Square.
just, you got a little mark there, Michelle? Yeah. I told her I couldn't choose, so I was glad I was gonna abstain.
Maybe we should find space for a pickleball court on it though.
So, ever thought?
Yeah, so I like that one. The one
They're all
everybody's talking
They
about.
are all very nice. I sort of like the top one too, but I think that far left is the one I'm sort of drawn to.
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree. That would look nice.
Just sort of a logo brand. Okay.
It's for fundraising purposes.
Well, it's just, I think it's for all kinds of purposes. You know, we talked about having little things to hand out at the concert series. One of the things we talked about was like an old timey band that would have our logo on it. If we ever get fancy enough to have t-shirts like the marina, it can have our logo on it. You know, if we have pint glasses or something, you know, just a way to brand it and try to make it together. Well, it seems like we're all in agreement on the bottom. Well, that was really easy.
That was really good.
And then the next one, we don't have them all printed up, but remember we talked about slogans and taglines and, we all had differing thoughts, but this is the one at the top. But one of the things everybody felt good about and liked was if Topsail Beach holds a special place in your heart. And the more I started looking at it, what we can do is have a long-term tagline, for lack of a better word. And that would be our state, that would always be there. That would be our tagline. When you think Topsail Beach Parks and Rec, there's gonna be a Topsail Beach holds a special place in your heart, ... And then if we have specific projects that we're working on, we would then have a little logo or motto. This one that's on this piece of paper, give back to the place that gives so much, is generic. So if we don't have a special project, we would always say on that band, if Topsail Beach holds a special place in your heart, ... give back to the place that gives so much, and we'd have a QR code on there. If the commissioners approve our capital improvement request for the playground equipment, then we would have a specific project that we are actually trying to help generate funds for, and we would change that give back to the place. You know, we would come up with another slogan. So, Rochelle and Christina, we worked to sort of take what we said at our last meeting and flesh it out. So what do y'all think of having a long-term tagline and then a slogan that changes based on what our emphasis is at the time? Sounds good.
I think that's important because then you can direct people's attention to something we're focusing on at that time, whether it be, you know, a pickleball court or
Right.
the playground itself. I think that's great because so people know exactly what they're donating to, or a better idea.
And what we have on this sheet, and this is something, Rochelle or the town would work with, but I want you to see it, to see the words under here that you see, and for y'all sitting in the audience, I'll read it. But this, we were talked about with the town that if you have a QR code, it's gonna take you to a place. And I'm not, please don't take what I say because I'm not the smartest chip, you know? But what in my mind, we're going to have a QR code and that's going to take you to a place on our website that gives more information, sort of tells you what our projects are. But right now, this is just generic because we don't have one. So it would say something like, the town of Topsail Beach is committed to maintaining and enhancing the shared spaces that make our community special. Through the Parks and Recreation Department, contributions support a wide range of amenities and experience, including the town park and gathering spaces, the beach and sound access points, the summer concert series and community events, beautification of public areas, parks and directional signage and messaging more. These spaces serve both residents and visitors, providing places to connect, relax, and enjoy the natural beauty of our coastal community. Your contributions help ensure these resources remain welcoming, accessible, and well cared for today and for years to come. Every gift matters. Every gift helps. Every gift matters. And then a little tagline that I thought was cute: visiting this week, considering giving in honor of your time at Topsail Beach. So this would be something along these lines we would work into our messaging online and things such as that. So please offer any thoughts you have or changes, and then we'll let the gurus over there finalize it. But this is your proof, your concept. What do y'all think? And last time we talked about having levels of giving opportunities, and we had these little slogans there. Nobody seemed to have a strong preference, as my recollection is what those little $25 is a seashell supporter. $50 is a sandcastle builder, $100 is a palm tree, you know, just little things. And then remember, we were going to have a place on our webpage that would recognize all our seashell supporters, all of our sandcastle builders. And that's as people give, their names will be put on a recognition page on our website.
Yeah, no, I like all of this. I've done a good job with this.
Okay.
And where again would people visiting see this? It would be, and that's what we'll talk about later, whether it be a placard in front of the park or
Well,
in advertising they see in the.
so what we've talked about so far, and Rochelle or Christina, please chime in. We've talked about having those sandwich boards at the summer concert. The summer concert series right now would be where we do our soft sell. Y'all
Yeah.
sort of tell us where we are with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea was, we talked about last meeting, maybe doing like a sandwich board, that we could replace, you know, different signage on. Particularly, having those out at the town concerts, which brings in a lot of people. Not only, you know, residents, but also visitors alike. So that would be a nice opportunity. I suggest that a member from the Parks and Recreation Committee be present, and be able to speak on that. But yeah, and then of course, you know, we can have it on the website. Any other, we even talked about a flag, banner, you know, with the QR code. I don't know if we determined that would work or not, but yeah, so opportunities like that. We did also talk about AWT, you know, depending on, I think, how the budget goes, that might be an opportunity as well.
AWC.
Ottawa Topsail.
Oh.
Sorry.
I should know that.
So we're taking baby steps, but that's where and the reason we would like to finalize our thoughts on this today is because our first concert is in May, next month. And that's where we need to go, I guess you would say, live with our logo, tagline and slogan. And have our website ready, so if it took them there, we would have the information there, yeah.
Is that something to be sent to the sunshine list? Is that one of those things that's possible? Or one thing about promoting, hey, this is something new and,
Absolutely.
you know, give them ways to donate, whether it's check or QR code, whatever.
Yeah, I think we would just, again, we would point them either to the website or, have the QR code on there. Sure, there'd be some sort of little banner that Rochelle's so great at making, a little flyer, that we could put in there to jazz it up.
Okay.
I think we have one question.
Yeah, do I have to go up?
You're recognized.
Maybe better, that way we can hear you at home.
I think Earl, I'm 7 Bridges. I know all of the rental agencies hand out a little packet. Could that be a flyer in that packet?
Definitely.
Well, I think, what would be good for that purpose, I think, maybe even just coming up with a flyer for like the concerts in the park. And then maybe adding something about the QR code on the bottom, to go visit the website or,
Sure,
something like that.
something like
Yeah,
that. Because
absolutely.
believe it or not, people do read that.
They do, yeah, and they want to know what's going on.
And there's always the magazine. I look forward to picking up that Topsail magazine. Oh, maybe. in there.
But like you said, vendors that are coming back year after year, certain benefits are really important, whether it be pickleball courts or the new park or the concerts area. That would be great if the vendors themselves knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah. I, say something.
Now, Nancy, come back to the podium.
Penny Girl, 507 Bridgers. Communication is like our hardest hurdle to get the word out with the greatest ideas we had. We ran up against that, many times. And I think we had, for Save the South End, we did invest in some banners, which I thought really people took notice of. And I think you have some primary sites that if you did design your new logo on a banner, on the north side of the park, there's a white wall there. So periodically you might be able to put a banner up there. Also, when you have these pickleball players waiting, you have all this fencing around the pickleball court. So I'm not saying to over signage it, but you have a great deal of real estate where you could put up information in a banner in those sites, I think. And people would talk about it amongst themselves. Did you know about the concert? I didn't even know about the concert in May. Yeah, we're gonna go. That word of mouth and having something up there like that works out. And you also have your paid parking, you have your oceanfront beach accesses. And I know we have current signs and we have other signs up there, but those accesses might also bring it up to light. I think your concerts, it's hard to know when they are. If you're not on the web, if you're not getting the information from the town, so the vacationers would welcome that.
Well, the good news is we now have 3 banners on along the roads that access 1A, Park Center, and the South End that announces our concert series, the 4th Tuesday of May through August. So we are working on it.
Yep.
We are working on it.
Happening.
Thank you. And please take all that and we'll trust Christina and Rochelle to sort of help us figure out as we start down this road. The next paper that you have, and see what the next one you have is, because I've shuffled mine up. Yes, frequently asked questions. This is something that I personally think would be nice to have on our web page as we develop our web page for this giving. Just some frequently asked questions that people could click on, which was, how will my contribution be used? Can I designate for a specific purpose? Are contributions tax deductible? Will donors be recognized? Who can contribute and how can I make a contribution? So, just let you glance at that for a second. If you all are comfortable with this, I would give it to, ask Christina and others to sort of work with it. And as we build up that section of our Parks and Recreation part of the website page, town's webpage.
Well, your contributions are going to the town, right?
That's right.
And that we are not a nonprofit, are we?
No, but gifts to the town may be tax deductible to a governmental entity.
It may.
We looked at this sometime back when we were trying to decide whether it was worthwhile to form a nonprofit, and decided for all the energy it would take, we really gained very little because contributions to the town may be tax deductible.
Right.
And then we'd have to have another board, and we just have limited resources. But I think this, and I would hope we may ask Connie to look at this, and possibly the town attorney to make sure there's, the glance to make sure they sign off on it as we build that page.
Yeah, like those.
And if there are any other questions that you have that you think would,
I think maybe we, on the first one, how would that be used? Can, we say maintenance, improvement, enhancement. We also might want to say like replacement of agent, to complete replacement or not.
well, this is generic. If the commissioners approve the playground equipment and that starts moving forward and we have a specific campaign for the playground equipment, or in the future, some other thing, that's where we'll have, can you designate it for a specific purpose? Someone could just give to the fund, to the line, or they may give specifically because they want the playground equipment. But what if they did, it would be because the town decided that would be an area. Someone could not pick a purpose for which the town had not
Right.
designated and just start doing it. But we can modify this as we have a specific project, because right now we do not.
Have we ever done this before?
Not-
Have we asked for money for specific projects before?
Yeah, when we built the park to begin with, the town center was created, then we had an opportunity for people to maybe sponsor a certain, like a bench, or, matter of fact, we got a large donation for the playground equipment as well. So, yes, we've had that kind of opportunity in the past. And at that point, it was very basic. We sent out like an Excel spreadsheet and said, a bench is, $40 or whatever, it was, and kind of went like that.
But I guess I can see where perhaps one of us are standing up there at the concert series and somebody says, why are y'all raising money? About my taxes.
Again, this is why this is a good opportunity to make sure we educate ourselves and, what you want to say, and make sure that we're all on the same page with that.
Right.
And of course, you're going to do that. And again, until we have the budget approved, it's going to be difficult to speak to specific items such as the playground replacement. I mean, obviously that's our priority at this point, but without the approval and the budget, it would be difficult. But I think, saying we have certain projects, town appearance projects, and again, maintenance, not really maintenance, I would say town appearance projects, enhancement projects, those types of things.
Yeah.
The maintenance is something that is just part of the regular everyday.
Right. I think from an individual standpoint, I would think that getting to something specific would generate more interest than me getting into some thing that you're just going to spend it on whatever.
And I would agree with you. I think that's why we got the participation we did when we started the town center to begin with. But again, right now, we can't use the playground equipment, although we all know that right now is our priority to replace. But until that's been approved by the board, we just can't. We wouldn't want to promise that to somebody.
And we have talked about different ways to recognize givers. And right now it's just, we've landed on something soft, which is just an annual recognition on our webpage. If we have a specific project, we may decide that we want to have other opportunities for a person to be recognized, incorporated within that project, but that's a question for another day. And I agree, we won't get a lot based on generics, but you gotta start somewhere. At least this gets it out there with it just starts the ball moving.
Well, again, like Penny said, it's all about getting the word out, and you have to figure out, and there are a lot of people, I really hadn't thought about it, till you mentioned, there are a lot of people that go to town bar.
Yeah.
A lot of people, during the day, certainly getting ready to come, for a lot of people there, May, June, July, August, so, it'd be nice to make sure we covered that with the proper signage that we would need.
Pat, you'll recognize it, you'd like to come
I
up?
just make a quick comment. I hear Lewis's concerns about how you present it. And I was just sitting here thinking that you may not be able to specifically call out the playground at this point. But if you just say, if you got up, for example, at a concert and said, we love our park, and if you want to know why we're asking for your help with this, you may say your taxes go for this, but in reality, your taxes are spent for renourishing the beach and making sure that we've got our infrastructures that we need, our new public works building and that kind of thing are always going to come probably before playground equipment or a new pickleball court. But we love our park, and so we're hoping that you'll support that as well. So, I think if you present it like, hey, we've got to have these things, wants versus needs and that kind of thing. I think that might sell it.
Well, maybe that word maintenance, and we can
Yeah.
even delete that word in this.
And what I would suggest, I would love for the staff to take, this isn't etched in stone, but if you all agree with the general concept of it,
We do.
then between perhaps you, Christina, town attorney, Connie, you all can foresee the questions that need to be asked and how they should be answered. But I do think having an FAQ will help or solve a lot of questions.
I do want to just point out that the Parks and Recreation Board and Fund and all of these things, it's not specifically the park, the town center park. Just keep that in mind. I know we think about the park a lot because it kind of seems to be only our, kind of what you think of when you think of Parks and Recreation. But Parks and Recreation covers all of our accesses, any of the other town appearance projects, all that kind of stuff so just keep that in
And
mind.
that is true. And then the bulleted list, we talk the park, but then the second bullet is beach and sound access points, community events, beautification of our public areas. And there may be another bullet, Christian, please take this and run with it, but hopefully this gives you I always find it's easier to start with words on a page.
I mean, it's huge, the expense and so forth with the beach access areas and the sound access areas, and imagine that they don't exist. Only the people on the beach have access to the beach.
Well, I think we probably run this one into the ground. Christina and Rochelle, do y'all think you have enough to go with? Good deal. I mean, if there's anything else you need from us, please let me know. The next item on the agenda is Tom giving us an update on our town project and
All right, and season prep news, the rinsing stations are back on. Beach mats are out. As a reminder, they are at 1A, 14, and 16. We've actually added one this year to access 11 as well, to coincide with the new work we did on that crossover and ramp. And the life rings are out a little bit earlier this year than in the past, but I think it's going to work out well. Starting next week, we're going to be replacing the rinsing station at the town center. Replacing that with one of our custom built ones that we've made in-house that we've done at the other accesses. This will also include some concrete work and resodding of some of the grass around the bathrooms. Staff made repairs to the sound side access number 6. There was wood on that going up a ramp that was a tripping hazard, and we ripped that out and poured a new little concrete pad there, and then redid the beginning part of that ramp and handrails. the handicap parking, pad that we're adding to number 11 will take place next week on the 15th. That whole access will be closed for a day. The pad itself will be roped off 2 or 3 days to let that cure. As you mentioned, the banners were changed last week from the generic kind of Topsail Beach ones to the concert series banners. We received the annual playground inspection report, and staff have been working on making those necessary repairs that was in that report. We've begun to move the rest of the posts, the access signs, to the ones that are on the ocean side. We're moving those to the other opposite side of the dunes onto the beach. And next week, we'll start working on the triangle beds at the accesses that we've talked about. We actually ordered that rock today, so that'll be here next week. We're going to take all that rubber mulch and all that out, and the irrigation has been off on those for as far as anyone can remember. So we're going to take that out. We're putting in that kind of gray river rock and some decorative seasonal grass in there. So.
What did you say about the signs? You said you were moving them to the beach?
So there's 2 access signs, as you walk on and walk off. Well, on the back side, the access signs were on the accesses, and you couldn't see them from the ocean side. So we're moving them we're moving the posts and all to the other side of the dam.
To the outside of the dam.
Yeah, to the beach. So they're visible from the beach.
Wouldn't have been lost people walking up and down.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you. Could you just elaborate a little bit for us on the beautification? We've talked about that before, something we wanted to see, and I just want to commend Tom and his crew because they're taking on this beautification for us.
Yeah, I believe we brought the beginning of or middle of last year. It was first mentioned about those. Was that DOT? Those DOT put those. I don't even know what they're called. At the landscape triangles there. I think it's accesses 5 through 15, roughly have those. With the idea that the town was supposed to maintain those, and just over years of neglect, we wanted to do something different with them, and this was kind of our solution.
So I'm curious to see how that goes. I'm excited because we talked about how some of the planters that were there, some were kept, some were not, some look bad, some look good, and we discussed, do we do away with it? What do we do? And Tom's crew, I don't know if volunteer is the right word, but to work on that for us. And so
It worked out because it was something that was a priority of the board, and in-house, we were already having those discussions that we wanted to do something with it. So it just kind of, I felt like it all came together.
And in talking, Rochelle, I'm gonna put you on the spot again. I don't know how quick you can go. The banner for the Memorial Day and the Veterans Day, at our last meeting and trying to communicate to people, we have the placing, is that the right word, of the wreaths?
Yes, the lane.
The laying, I thought it was laying, but thought I was wrong. The laying of the wreaths is about a 10 to 15-minute presentation. It's very meaningful if you have not been before. We do it twice a year at the Park Center. And we were trying to discuss ways to let people know. And one of the things we said at the last meeting, we'd like to have a banner put on our 3 signposts. And Rochelle has done a great job in designing it, or somehow designing it. She'll get it up in a second. When it is, you'll see it. Does anyone have any questions for Tom while she's waiting to do that?
Number 11 looks great.
Thank you.
Really does.
It was a little lengthy. It took a little longer than we thought, but in the end, I think, and then when we're done with the parking aspect of it, it's going to be even better.
Much improved.
It's a popular spot.
It is.
Okay, just quickly, because y'all noticed, we're parking around the tower, water tower. That's not paid parking, is it?
Over here. No, it's not.
But is the new thing that you're building beside, that's going to be?
It hasn't been determined yet. It's, at this
I think
point,
it's parking lot you're
It's
building.
parking lot for the workers on the new building.
so it's not going to be public at this point. Now, once the building gets up and then there's no need to have that there for the contractors to park in, I'm not sure what will happen after that.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Well, we're gonna go on and I'll start general discussion on the next agenda topic. This is not one we have, talked much about, but remember at the last meeting, we talked about what do we want to start focusing on next? What do we want to make one of our priorities for the coming year? And I guess since I'm here, I got to put it on there. Oh, is that there? Ah, there it is. I want y'all to see that. I think it looks really nice. So that'll be, put up for in May. I don't know. Did we do just one at the Park Center? Is that what we did? Because we said it would be too much to try to change them all, just to put it back up.
Yeah.
So we put it up, and because the day often changes of the week, we can't, so this will just be at the, it will just be, at the banner here at Park. Okay, but there it is. I really appreciate that. I thought it looked really good and hopefully it will catch people's attention. And thank you, Rochelle, for being flexible. And looking at the master plan that was put together, the idea of having some type of recreational program, it was mentioned in conversations with the staff. It was, we had, if you recall, in completing that master plan, our person, oh my goodness, I forgot his name.
Judge.
No, the person who put together our master plan.
Oh,
Jen Hurst. He met with focus groups. He had, I think, 3 different focus groups. He met with them. We also had comments from people to put something that came up in every instance was perhaps having recreational programs. Well, I think we all can agree that we're not going to have a Parks and Recreation staff member. So how do you have programs without a Parks and Recreation staff member? And looking at that, it could be that we could contract with someone. And I'm just putting this out there. If the board likes the idea, then we can start developing it. I think it's too late for this summer, but maybe yoga or just one type of activity that we could try to see how it goes. And looking it up, you would, I think you'd almost have to have, we would just have to look into it to see how best to carry it forward. But I wanted to see if you all were interested or thought it was a viable thing to at least start developing. Thoughts on? I know that, from Penny, I think it was up there, you're talking about pickleball lessons. I mean, that's a long ways from right now.
I know.
But this might be something we could do just for a limited time to see how, if we can find someone who's interested in providing the service. But you would have to have a contract. I mean, there would be some hurdles we need to start looking at. But the first hurdle is whether or not you think there is interest enough to start looking at it. And I said, yoga, you may think of something you think would be more sought after, gentle stretching.
I don't have a feel for that. You know, I mean, if the focus groups had said that's what people wanted, then certainly I think it'd be great. We had a crazy thing happen over one of the holidays, Thanksgiving, I guess it was. And a bunch of people of the family came to the house and my wife hired a yoga guy to come out in the backyard and did yoga. So my point is, it is relatively, you could do that, just find a guy or a girl that wants to do that and set it up. And so there's no cost to you.
Right.
So, I mean, it would be what it would be a cost of the people using it.
Right.
I mean, you can't give it away.
Right. I mean, it would not be something, like I said, we'd have to look at different models and see. I'm not envisioning this as a cost to the, a huge cost.
Would it be something where the town would make money, or is it simply?
I mean, there are different models. When I looked at it, there are models where, where the town gets some of the proceeds. In my mind, as we're just beginning this road, I would not put any obstacles up. I mean, I would just try to see if it is something this area, this town, community came to. I mean, I would start slowly, but it's not to say that it couldn't be, but it would not raise a substantial amount of money.
And it wouldn't be we wouldn't want to go the direction of Lake for Children, like a little turtle walk or, or parents could put their kids, could rent, pay for 2 hours and they'd go on with a guide, that type of thing.
It could. I mean, I think we need to start small. So how would, which is why I thought, well, somebody coming to be on the grass or the sand, that's just really simple.
Simple, yeah.
But it could evolve into that if this model worked. But I think it could be many things if it worked and there was interest.
I think it's worth exploring, but I think when you associate the town, you have to kind of be careful again about risk with an activity and someone is injured. You have to make sure all that stuff is, the town would not be held liable for whatever this activity is going on, especially if you add children to it, then you got even a different type of a liability. But I do think that it's worth exploring more. And I mean, you could go into teaching people how to surf fish, teaching people how to kayak and navigate the marsh or something. There's lots of things that can be done, but I think the risk and liability is something to be evaluated as well.
And it would take someone coordinating all that too. And I don't think it's something that currently a role like that doesn't exist.
It would not be the step. That's when I feel like the only model, and there are variations of this model, but the only model would be contracting with a private entity to do. I mean, it could not.
I mean, kind of like how maybe you have the food truck during, the Southside Park. You're just inviting a vendor that provides yoga services to come and provide yoga or something like that. You could do it like that.
And that is sort of like now we have the bands come. We contract with the band to come to the park to provide it. There is no, we don't have, other than having a place for them to perform.
Yeah.
That's the extent. But there are hurdles and things. But if you think it's worth exploring, then we can sort of evolve it.
I think it's definitely worth exploring.
And I just said yoga because that's one to me that you don't need a lot for, and
A lot of people do it.
a lot of people do it.
And I mean, pickleball lessons is another idea too, because kids are on vacation. It'd be great for parents, even for little kids to go and try.
Like I said, I feel like if we find a model that works, I think it can be, we can grow it. I think we need to start with something really simple to start, just to test the waters.
Agreed, yeah.
Well, if y'all are in agreement, then we'll keep fleshing that out from there. All right. And see where we are. Well, we've already confirmed our next meeting date of the 14th at 10. So that's a Thursday, not a Tuesday, and a different time. Please mark your calendars. Christine, we haven't heard much from you today. Do you have any wisdom you would like to impart?
No, I think you guys are doing a great job. I appreciate all the efforts that all of you are making. I understand that sometimes it's a little frustrating because things move slowly, but you are making steps and we appreciate that.
Does anyone on the board have any?
No, I think you're going down the right track. I just think that the focus and the energy should be spent on what we've already talked about, as far as whatever happens with the board, they approve that fundraising, for these individual things of whatever they may do. We really establish that, and I think that's really where the effort should be, because otherwise you're not going to be able to, if there's a shortfall, you're not going to be able to make it up.
Right.
And if this is a great idea and everybody says, oh yeah, we need to put that in there because it just enhances our main center of our entire town, right? Which is the park, really, right? That's where it's the main part. So not the most important part, but the main part.
Well, I feel like Rochelle has gone so far down this road, and I can hardly wait to see where she ends. She is very creative, and we are very appreciative of her efforts. Does anyone else on the board have any comments? Well, with that, do I hear a motion that we adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Thank you. So moved.
So moved.
Yes, thank you all, and I will see you the 14th. And we got a lot to work on for the 14th. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.